In the name of Allah, the most merciful and the most compassionate. All praise belongs to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, and peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, the final messenger and the greatest guide for humanity. Today, we reflect upon the timeless spiritual wisdom inspired by the teachings of Hazrat Sultan Bahoo, one of the greatest Sufi saints in Islamic history. Through his sacred writings, especially in his spiritual books, he invites human beings to return to their true purpose, to purify their hearts, and to build a strong, sincere, and unbreakable relationship with Allah. In the early pages of his works, Hazrat Sultan Bahoo lays the foundation of spiritual life by explaining that real success does not lie in wealth, power, or fame, but in self-purification, sincerity, and complete surrender to the will of Allah. He teaches that a person who understands this reality early in life is protected from many forms of confusion, disappointment, and spiritual loss. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo begins by reminding us that human beings are created for a higher purpose. We are not sent into this world merely to eat, earn, compete, and die. We are sent to recognize Allah, obey His commands, and live with consciousness of His presence. When a person forgets this purpose, his life becomes empty, even if he appears successful. He may have money, followers, and social status, but his heart remains restless. According to Hazrat Sultan Bahoo, true peace enters the heart only when a person connects himself sincerely with Allah. This connection is not built through words alone, but through actions, intentions, and inner purification. A person must clean his heart from jealousy, pride, hatred, greed, and hypocrisy before he can receive divine light. One of the central themes in the early pages of Hazrat Sultan Bahoo's books is the struggle against the Nafs, the lower self. The Nafs is the inner force that pushes a person towards selfish desires, arrogance, and disobedience. It makes a person love praise, fear criticism, and chase temporary pleasures. As long as a person is controlled by his Nafs, he cannot grow spiritually. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo teaches that the first step toward Allah is controlling this inner enemy. This struggle is not easy. It requires patience, discipline, and consistency. It requires sacrificing comfort for righteousness and choosing truth over desire. But those who succeed in this struggle experience inner freedom and spiritual strength. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo also emphasizes the importance of sincerity, known as ikhlas. He explains that every action is judged by intention. A small action performed sincerely for Allah is more valuable than a great action done for show. Many people pray, give charity, and speak about religion, but their goal is recognition and praise. Such actions have little spiritual value. A true seeker performs every deed only for Allah. Whether he is alone or in public, his intention remains pure. This sincerity becomes a source of divine blessings and protection. It strengthens faith and removes hypocrisy from the heart. Another important teaching in the early pages is the value of knowledge combined with practice. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo explains that knowledge without action is like a tree without fruit. It looks impressive, but it provides no benefit. Many people collect religious information, memorize books, and attend lectures, yet their character does not improve. They know what is right, but they do not follow it. True knowledge changes behavior. It creates humility, honesty, patience, and kindness. When knowledge enters the heart, it transforms the entire personality. Without practice, knowledge becomes a burden on the day of judgment. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo further explains the importance of remembrance of Allah, known as Zikr. He teaches that the heart without Zikr is spiritually dead. Just as the body needs oxygen, the soul needs remembrance. Zikr cleans the heart from darkness, strengthens faith, and brings peace. When a person remembers Allah regularly, his fears decrease, his patience increases, and his confidence grows. Zikr connects the servant with his Creator and protects him from sinful influences. According to Hazrat Sultan Bahoo, constant remembrance is one of the strongest weapons against spiritual weakness. In his early teachings, Hazrat Sultan Bahoo also highlights the importance of a true spiritual guide, known as a murshid. He explains that spiritual growth is difficult without proper guidance. Just as a student needs a teacher and a patient needs a doctor, a seeker needs a guide who understands the path. A true murshid does not seek fame or wealth. His purpose is to connect people with Allah. He corrects mistakes, purifies hearts, and strengthens faith. Following such a guide requires humility and obedience. Pride prevents people from benefiting from guidance, while humility opens the doors of wisdom. Contentment and trust in Allah are also major themes in the early pages. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo teaches that a true believer remains satisfied with Allah's decisions. He does not complain in hardship or become arrogant in success. He understands that every situation is a test. Wealth is a test, poverty is a test, health is a test, and illness is a test. When a person accepts Allah's will with patience and gratitude, his heart becomes stable. He is not shaken by ups and downs. This inner stability is a sign of strong faith. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo explains that Faqr, or spiritual poverty, does not mean abandoning the world. It means removing the love of the world from the heart. A person may work, earn, and live comfortably, but he should not become a slave of wealth. Money should remain in the hands, not in the heart. Status should not create pride, and loss should not create despair. A true Faqr lives in balance. He fulfills his responsibilities while keeping his heart attached to Allah. Self-accountability is another powerful lesson. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo encourages seekers to examine themselves daily. Instead of criticizing others, they should correct their own faults. They should reflect on their intentions, words, and actions. They should ask Allah for forgiveness and guidance. This habit protects a person from arrogance and spiritual decline. It keeps him humble and focused on improvement. The early pages also emphasize good character. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo teaches that spirituality without good manners is incomplete. A true seeker is gentle, honest, patient, and forgiving. He avoids hurting others with words or actions. He controls his anger and treats people with respect. His character reflects his inner purity. People feel peace in his presence. Through good character, a person becomes a living example of Islam. Gratitude is another essential quality highlighted in these teachings. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo explains that every blessing is a gift from Allah. Health, family, knowledge, and opportunities are divine favors. A grateful person recognizes these gifts and thanks Allah regularly. Gratitude increases blessings and removes greed. It makes a person content and joyful. Instead of chasing endless desires, he learns to appreciate what he has. Reliance on Allah, known as tawakkul, is also emphasized. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo teaches that a believer should work hard and use his abilities, but he should not become obsessed with results. After making effort, he should trust Allah completely. He should believe that Allah's plan is better than his own. This trust removes fear and anxiety. It gives strength in difficult times and hope in dark moments. Through his early writings, Hazrat Sultan Bahoo reminds us that life is temporary. Everything in this world will pass. Youth will fade, wealth will disappear, and status will end. Only good deeds and sincere faith will remain. A wise person prepares for the hereafter while living responsibly in this world. He uses his time, energy, and resources for beneficial purposes. He avoids useless activities and harmful habits. These teachings invite us to slow down and reflect. In a fast-paced world filled with distractions, Hazrat Sultan Bahoo calls us back to simplicity, sincerity, and spirituality. He reminds us that real happiness does not come from possessions, but from peace of heart. It does not come from applause, but from divine approval. It does not come from competition, but from contentment. In conclusion, the early pages of Hazrat Sultan Bahoo's books present a complete foundation for spiritual life. They teach self-purification, sincerity, discipline, remembrance, humility, and trust in Allah. They guide human beings toward balance, peace, and purpose. They show that Faqr is not weakness, but spiritual strength. It is freedom from fear, greed, and dependence on people. It is living only for the pleasure of Allah. Those who follow this path sincerely are granted inner peace, strong faith, and divine closeness. May Allah grant us the ability to understand these teachings, implement them in our lives, and remain steadfast on the path of truth. May He purify our hearts, forgive our mistakes, and guide us toward lasting success. Ameen.